Greetings, talkers. I'm Stax Rosh with Dangerous Talk, and today I'm going to talk about the subcommittee for the Committee on Oversight and Accountability on their hearing from July 26th, 2023. So I know this committee, Oversight and Accountability, very exciting stuff. Very exciting. Actually, today it is, because they're talking about UAPs, which is unidentified anomalous phenomenon, also known as UFOs. So, yeah, aliens. Or, I'm sorry, non-human biologics. But we'll get into that. First thing I want to mention is the makeup of this committee. Right. So, usually they have, when they're having the committee, they have the name of the congressional representative who's speaking. It doesn't have their party affiliation. I had to pause and look that stuff up. Most of the people on this subcommittee were Republicans. Now, some of them I didn't have to look up because they used their time to attack Biden rather than talk about aliens and UFOs. Go figure. But to the credit of the chair, who was a Republican, and most of the other Republican members, they actually did spend time talking about UFOs. So, there were some Republicans that were using it, to be sly. But most of them were actually pretty good. So I was surprised. The chair is Representative Comer from Kentucky. I had no idea what party he was from, so I had to look him up. Obviously, Congressman Jamie Raskin, Congresswoman AOC, I didn't have to look them up. But most of the people, Congressman Biggs, no idea. Congresswoman Mace, no idea. Had to look them up. Republicans, of course. But anyway, they had three key whistleblower witnesses. So, first one I want to talk about is Mr. Graves. He saw a cube-shaped UFO inside of a sphere, and his main concern seemed to be how are private aviators going to report UFO sightings. So he wanted Congress to kind of address that issue. Is there a way these private aviators could report? Other than that, he really didn't have anything interesting to say, but that was his thing. Mr. Fravor, he saw the Tic Tac spaceship, and one of I think it was Representative Comer, was quick to point out, how hip he is to say it's Tic Tac, not Tic Toc, like the evil Chinese social media site. Very funny, very hilarious. But anyway, Fravor he said he didn't even really want to testify. It hurts his reputation, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of his friends and colleagues kept pushing him to testify, and so he finally did. But I don't think he really had anything to add to this conversation. He could have stayed home, to be honest with you. The only one who really had anything interesting to say is Mr. Grush. Grush was the only one who really had anything relevant to this hearing. They could have done the whole thing with just him. Now, he's an interesting cat. First off, a lot of the time he said he can't discuss what he knows because he got top secret clearance and it would violate his clearance. So he would have to address these questions privately with Congress people after they got the prerequisite clearances. A lot of time he also said he can't discuss, or he's already discussed this information in public, So you could just look them up and find out the answers there. He wasn't quick to volunteer any information. They kind of had to pry it out of him. You would think if he's testifying and he wants people to know this stuff, he would, try to elaborate on things. They would ask him a question, and you would think he would want to give a full answer, kind of give more information than what was being asked, so that they could do what they need to do. But instead, he just answered every question very directly, did not stray from the question, did not give any extra information that might be relevant. I thought that was kind of strange. He also didn't see anything. So he's never seen a spaceship, he's never seen an alien. All he's seen are communiques, paper trails, heard stories, lots of stories. He seems to believe the stories he's heard and the paper trail that he's gotten to his desk. But it reminded me of a Star Trek Next Generation episode, The Defector. In that episode, a Romulan defects to the Enterprise, claims to have all this knowledge. I've seen all these communiques and about the Romulans building a base in the neutral zone and what a threat that would be. And then the Enterprise gets there and there's no base. The Romulan leadership just fed him fake information, knowing that he would defect, and it was a test of his loyalty. I don't know. This seemed a lot like that to me. Grush, he has all this information that he doesn't actually have. There's no eyewitness, he hasn't seen anything. He's just seen the communiques. So, you got to take that. Let's say if there's this huge, vast conspiracy within the government to hide UFOs and aliens and all that stuff. If that is true, and that's an if, they've been hiding this stuff for 80 years. You think they're gonna let him waltz into Congress and talk about it? I'm reminded of Batman, when the Joker, Jack Nicholson Joker, said, if Harvey Dent could have touched Grissom, he would have handed him his lungs by now. If this guy Grush had any real information, I think the Men in Black would have handed him his lungs by now, or at least did the mind wipe thing, from the movie. But now I don't know. So there's two things that are sus about that. He wouldn't. He hasn't actually seen anything. He's just seen paperwork and heard stories. And two, if he had any real information, would they let him talk about it? He did admit that he has talked to witnesses who have been threatened, and that he knew people who have been harmed or murdered, perhaps, for knowing too much. So, there's that element there. They talked about I think one of the Republicans asked him about the aliens, and he said, he doesn't call them aliens, call them non-human biologics. And he explained that he thought that, or he didn't say he thought, but he insinuated that he thought that they were interdimensional beings. And he did give a brief explanation of this, and I thought this was actually kind of interesting. He talked about how a three-dimensional object leaves a two-dimensional shadow. And in relation, this is my speculation, if we're to believe these sightings and stuff, because they say these ships move very fast in weird ways, could, speculation on my part, it be a five-dimensional object leaving a three-dimensional shadow, if you were, and that we're chasing shadows, But that's just if we're going to take this at face value. So I thought that was an interesting thought. But I also thought, you talk about non-human biologics. we're meant to believe that he's insinuating that it's like these interdimensional beings or whatever, but it could just be monkeys. Maybe the government is a test plane and it's moving at these weird things, and they want to see what would occur if you put a living creature in there. And they have monkey test pilots or dog test pilots, and they're remote controlling it. So non-human biologic, could be a dog, could be a monkey, might not be an interdimensional being, might not be an alien. But I'm just, putting that out there. Congressman Comer again talked about Area 51. I thought that was fascinating because he said that he kind of thinks Area 51 is for tourists. And I don't disagree with him on that. Even 20 years ago when I was kind of looking into this stuff, there was speculation that they moved all the alien stuff to the Bahamas, Because when you make a movie and a video game based on your secret military base, it's not so secret anymore. You got to move that stuff out somewhere else. So they might have some prop stuff or something over there still, for the tourists. So I thought that was an interesting point. Let's see, what else did I have here in my notes? AOC asked some questions about paper trail, about how to track down how to follow the money. And Brush said he couldn't talk about it. He couldn't talk about it in public. But he has that paper trail, but he can't talk about it in public. So, that was interesting. But again, if he has this paper trail and he has all this information, I don't know if he's going anywhere with it. As for me, I don't know. Back in the enthusiasm of youth, I was fascinated by aliens and UFOs and the Roswell incident and all these things. These days, I'm focused more on religion and the wackiness of that. So I haven't really been keeping up with the ufology stuff. But if you ask me, do I believe aliens exist? The answer is yes. The universe is vast. Aliens probably do exist statistically. Have they come here? I don't know. Depends on what day you ask me. Some days I'll say yes. Some days I'll say no. I'm kind of on the fence. I'd like to hear your opinions. Have you seen any UAPs? Have you seen any UFOs? Seen any aliens? Have you seen any non-human biologics? Your pet dog doesn't count. What are your thoughts? Do you have top secret information that that everyone wants to know, and that no one knows? Please share it in the comments below. I promise I am not part of the Men in Black. I will not erase your memory. I don't know. Leave your thoughts. Oh, yeah, there's one more thing I forgot to do here. As I always do. My book, not related to UFOs, but still, if you want to get it, it's Disproving God and 5 Adequate Reasons to be an Atheist. Small, fun. It's only $6.66. I'll leave the link down below. Thank you. Please share this video and all that fun stuff.